So here's what's happening. With all the glitches that started this off, the aim of this particular 15 to 20 minutes, which might go a little bit longer tonight, is all about, it's called the live check-in. Now, I don't know about you, but I get reprimanded all the time from my doctor there because I am one of those. If I see something happening, I'm like, oh my God, I want to Google it. Or I pick up the phone and I call her. Do you remember the time I had the acid reflux and I thought I was having a heart attack, Asante? These are the different things that sometimes you just want to latch on to for, right? And I thought about a good, well, in fact, Asante and I were sitting down in her office one day and she says, why don't we just do this? You know, presenting great information from our friends at Victoria Clinic. That is where Dr. Asante Le Blanc is based, not literally now, but during the day, and you'll share the hours later on. But you can go there and you can get to have that conversation with her and find out all you need to find out pertaining to your health. All right? So Dr. Asante Le Blanc, she's going to tell us all about herself because I have the bio down there, Asante. But with this trouble tonight, it's just crazy. So, Dr. Asante Le Blanc, before you tell us about your location, can you just tell us how many years you've been doing this? Because I always like to tell people when I'm introducing you to them, I always say this lady is from Cuba, she's from Guyana, she's, I don't know, but all over the world and so much training too. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, good evening, JD. I
Mm.
I'm Dr. Asante Van West Charles LeBlanc because that's the professional name, but Asante LeBlanc
Yeah.
is fine. I I was born in Cuba and I studied medicine in Cuba, but I lived in Guyana most of my life because my parents and my family are all Guyanese. Um,
Right.
I have been a doctor for 15 years. 15 years. And around, I would say in 2000 and, when was it? 2005 or 6, I decided I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to change how I practiced. And I practice complementary medicine. So that means integrative. So what I do is I do regular medicine as we all know it. I'm a doctor. But I also practice traditional Chinese medicine. I'm a medical herbalist and an acupuncturist. So I
Oh,
bring the two branches of medicine, both East and West, together. And that's how we met, I think. You met me like that. So I've been doing
all
that for
those
a while
things.
now.
And you have been on Ebony 104. Of course, there's no more Ebony, but we all really appreciate your times there where you shared so much info with us. And then I said, I want a GP in the North, being from
Correct.
South, but I wanted.
Correct.
And then I felt to speak to you too, because guys, if you do not know Dr. Asante, well, I know some of you don't, she has the most amazing laugh that can be heard outside her office. And she really makes you feel comfortable. Yeah, there it is. It's sneaking up. She's just being very polite by not laughing too loudly tonight. But she always made it comfortable to explain things to me. Do you want to give them the laugh? No. Right. So she
No, no,
always
no, no.
made
Let's go on.
so she always made it easy for me to understand what I was going through, etc., etc. And I do want to apologize if the phone is moving a lot because I did have it on the stand before, but it was the other way around. Long story. So I've got to hold it with my hand. So forgive me, guys. So again, if you were just jumping in, what is this? This is the live check-in with that doctor there, Dr. Asante Le Blanc. So informative and such a great way she's got to pass on the info that we need. Dr. Asante Le Blanc, before we go into our first discussion today, can you tell us about Victoria Clinic and where it is at? What do you offer there?
Oh, Lord. Victoria Clinic, which is my practice, is located 54 Gallus Street, Woodbrook. Um, at my practice, we have GPs and regular physicians who practice pure medicine alone. And then you have me. I do integrative medicine where I do both allopathic and herbal medicine or East and West branches of medicine. We also offer psychology and sports therapy, sports rehab therapy with Pulse Performance, all in that building. And in Victoria Clinic, we try to be um, a place of healing. We try to make you feel as though you're not in a doctor's practice, um, with aromatherapy. Sometimes, if I'm good, you get herbal teas. Um, you know,
Yes.
we just try to make the environment one of calming, settling. And so you're already anxious, you're going to see a physician, you don't know what's going to happen. As you know, we don't have news and these things in there. It's all calming music, it's all, Zen music. But my laughter will break through that Zen. We also do
Yes.
bone density testing, because I am also a certified clinical densitometrist, so that's for osteoporosis screening. um, so we do quite a bit in the center. We can do blood testing, EKGs, um, and soon to come on board, we're working on some other exciting projects, such as a weight loss program and so forth. So there are a few things well in the works.
And one of the things that you said there is so true about such a calming place, because when you enter, those of you looking on, you hear this the most calming music, and you sit there, and that is what I like. That's the secret there, Asante. Making sure that we are calm and ready to have that discussion with you and, well, the entire team at Victoria. And I want to say thank you for that. Most recently, my grandmother came to you, and she was noticing that. She's like, "Oh, it's so calm." And my grandmother's 85, as you guys know, and absolutely in love with Asante already. So, Dr. LeBlanc, did you share the location? Because it's on Gallus Street in Woodbrook, right? And if you can just quickly share some
Yes,
of the
correct.
numbers.
Yes, 622-2221, 622-0683. And we have a Facebook page, Victoria Clinic. And so we have all the location, the times that we're open, and the phone numbers as well, and my email address. Everything's there.
So this is what we're going to do. We're going to try to do it Wednesday more smoothly than we did today. Yes? So we're going to give you the opportunity to, we're going to have a dry run again outside of this, just to make sure, right? So we encourage you to check out your page, which is Asante Le Blanc, which is what we're on now, as well as JD Radio Personality page, which is where I was supposed to have this convo with you today, but we're on my personal page, which is fine because everyone here is like family to me anyway, right? So I want you guys looking on to please do not hesitate to share your questions, because the doctor is in. This is the live check-in, and you're getting the opportunity to maybe ask those questions on today's topic, which is literally about hypertension. Because one of the things I said to Dr. Asante Le Blanc when we were having a discussion, I wanted to talk first off about the silent killers. And there are so many, so then I kind of zoned it down to just the hypertension itself, right? So Dr. Le Blanc, one of the first questions can you answer for me, as anyone is who's looking on would want to know, what is high blood pressure?
Um, High blood pressure is basically defined as a blood pressure that is sustained or seen to be higher than, it used to be 140/90, but it's recently
Right.
been brought down a little bit to 130/90. Blood pressure in a human body is basically, it's like your heart is this huge pump, and all the blood vessels are hoses. So we have two blood pressures. We have the systolic, which is the top one, and the diastolic, which is the lower one. So the Myron, I'll answer that question just now. The systolic pressure is what is the pressure you get when the heart pumps the blood out of the heart
Right.
to go to the body. Diastolic pressure is the pressure when the heart is relaxing, basically, and that's the pressure that is seen when the heart itself is being nourished, just to make it easier for you. So we don't generally
Right.
want those pressures high, and the higher those pressures are, and the more erratic they are, they cause damage to the blood vessels. And that's where the whole inflammation and all these things come in. And you damage the vessels as you get. So it's like a hose, and you put high pressure through it, and you're going to damage the
Right.
lining. And that is what then sets off the issue, because with the damaged lining, the body tries to heal it because it sees it as an injury. And with that, seeing it as an injury, you get that characteristic picture with the hump in the blood vessel, and all that means is the blood vessel is getting smaller and smaller in diameter, so
So
that
the
in
body is doing
itself
it
the
by
blood is not
healing.
able to pass. Right, the body is actually
Because
causing a little problem.
and it is healing, but because of the
Yeah,
high blood pressure, it's not supposed to be healing as much as it should. So we're kind of putting. Am I right by saying the body's
correct.
sort of
So
not confused, but just correcting itself?
it's trying to correct itself, but in trying to correct itself, it's complicating the problem a little more.
And one of the terms applied to hypertension or high blood pressure is that it is a silent killer. I mean, obviously, those two words can speak for themselves, but can you go deeply into that when they say a silent killer?
Because generally, we aren't aware of our blood pressure, of it being high, um,
Right,
unless it's. I mean, it depends on your body as well. So most people might have a headache and say, "Oh, it's just a headache." They may
right,
have a neck pain sustained for a couple of days and say it's just a neck pain. They may have nothing. They may show no symptoms, and their pressure is very high. If they're
right.
accustomed to sustained stressful situation, if they work shift and so they don't sleep as properly as many hours as normal people who are not shift workers, all these are factors and you don't understand what's happening. And because hypertension or high blood pressure damages organs eventually over time, so it causes end organ damage. So basically it can cause a heart attack, it can cause a stroke, it can cause peripheral vascular disease, and the list goes on. It can cause renal failure. But these can be silent until they decide to be heard. And they may be heard with death, basically.
Whoa. Can you you just stop you paused on your screen, so I guess you need to touch it for a second. Um I'm guessing because
Oh,
I'm
I'm
still
here.
moving.
Are you not seeing me?
We're
Are you
seeing you
seeing me
stall for
now?
a minute. I'm not seeing you, but I'm seeing you, but you're in still photo, but we're hearing you as well. So hopefully that will clear up in a bit.
Okay.
Am I still moving you?
You're still moving. I think it's the internet. We're not the best in internet in Trinidad and Tobago. So,
Yeah.
Myron,
Yeah.
I guess I should answer your question. I've been practicing acupuncture for about 9 years now.
You're back, so we're seeing you. So Myron asked what was Myron's question?
How long I've been practicing acupuncture, and it's about 9 years.
9 years. And I've been fortunate to receive some of that as well. Thank you very much. So again, you said so that so what are you saying, Dr. Asante Le Blanc? There are no symptoms. Or are the,
It's
like you
not that
said, the
there are
back
no
of the
symptoms. You can have symptoms, but it's called a silent killer because usually the symptoms may be so nondescript and so fly by night that you may not recognize it as a symptom. You can wake up one morning and feel dizzy and say, "Oh, my blood sugar is low," but it might have been that your blood pressure is high. So there's so many things. And I think what I would like to impress upon the audience as well is that now we're seeing younger people with higher pressures due to the
I was
stress
going to
between the traffic, how early we wake up, how little we sleep, how hard you may or may not party, risk factors such as excessive drinking, not exercising, a poor diet, obesity, and smoking. These are all risk factors. And the thing is that it's syndrome X, which is diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and
right.
dyslipidemia or high cholesterol. So it's there's nothing on its own, they're all interconnected and interrelated. And
Good thing.
so
So
when we say it's a silent killer, it's that you
go ahead,
may
go ahead.
not recognize the signs and symptoms until it's too late.
And I guess in a way then we are having the discussion about silent killers because they're all related in some way, I'm guessing, like you said. So we are gonna eventually may possibly touch on different whether it's high cholesterol tonight as well. But I do want to have that in a separate conversation
It's
because
hypertension. And it
say it
can,
again. So
yeah. No, and remember that these silent killers are also major lifestyle diseases. So they're all
Yeah.
connected to a lifestyle.
And what I absolutely appreciate the fact that you just touched on there is no age, so it can affect anyone.
Yes, it
Because
can
most
affect anyone, and most because of the change in our lifestyles. And that is why it's important to have a physician that you see annually to understand how your body is working, to know what your pressure is really like, and to be able to see when it is trying to creep up and be able to say, JD, I find your pressure is creeping up. Can we monitor it? Can we do a blood pressure diary? Can we see where we're going? And then take it from there. Versus, you might get a pain, for example. And let's say you have really bad acid reflux and you have a
yes.
bad pain and I'm not around.
Right.
You go into the hospital. You're already nervous thinking you have a heart attack. You're in a lot of pain. You're anxious. They take your pressure is high. That is not the right time to diagnose you as hypertensive because your
Right.
body is reacting normally. So, what has to happen is we have to get you on 3 different occasions at rest to see what your blood pressure is to really diagnose you as hypertensive.
Before we lose this question, because the words are going up quickly, James Saunders, who's one of my broadcasting brothers, James, he says, "What hope do we have if most of the symptoms are barely detectable?" Can you touch on that? Because I'm
I
guessing exercise is
Yes,
one of the things we
you
certainly
have
need.
hope, but the hope is living a healthy lifestyle and also keeping in touch with your doctor. Because if your doctor is
Yeah.
monitoring your pressure annually, then you're as again you will be monitored. You understand? And the other hope is you're living a healthy lifestyle. So you're eating the right diet, you're not
Right.
smoking, you're drinking at a limited amount, you're having, you're keeping your cholesterol in within reason and within check, and your weight is a healthy weight. um but let's say you wake up one day and you feel a little dizzy. Your hope is maybe I should check my pressure to see if there's a connection. So that these are things that will make it not so silent then, because you
Right.
are
Right.
in touch with your body and you understand what's going on. I hope that
So,
answers the question.
yeah, I'm sure James will tell us, but I'm sure it does. Um, how often should, because you talked about doctor checking your pressure, but in terms of your own personal responsibility and not becoming crazy like I do and like, Asante, because remember most recently, and Asante guys gave me the look, like, Julian. I'm like, but how often should we check our blood pressure? Because most recently, Asante, as well, I bought myself my kit. So we'll talk about the kit in just a bit, but how often should we check that?
So that's a good question, because if you have relatives that have high blood pressure, if and your lifestyle is not optimum, then the family should have a blood pressure kit in the house.
Right,
So
right.
I would say personally, you can check your blood pressure maybe once a month. And the way to do it is when you wake up in the morning, you sit down for 5 minutes, take a rest,
Oh,
and you test the pressure on the machine. The machines that you get at home are meant to scare you. So if your pressure is 130/90, it may say check your doctor. You understand? But that's fine. You can easily send a message to your physician or go in and see your physician. Or what you can do is a blood pressure diary. And what that is you wake up in the morning, rest for 5 minutes, take your blood pressure. During the day, let's say you get a symptom of something down your hand, chest pain, headache, dizziness, you're just not feeling yourself. Take your pressure then and write down what you were feeling at the time, along with the blood pressure. You do that for about 10 days, and that is an amazing tool for your physician, because your
right.
physician will see what your pressure is outside of their office, and see the trend. Because when you step into a doctor's office, you could be anxious, and therefore you could
Yeah.
present with what we call white coat hypertension, which means your pressure is only high when you see us doctors with or without our white coats.
That's like going to the dentist, or
What
that
about people?
nerve just kills the pain instantly, you know, because of that fare going there. So in
Yeah.
this case, yeah. Well, quick, James, it says, what about people who have medical paranoia and start thinking everything means running to? James, could you not talk about me like that, please? Could you not talk about me like that? Because I'm one of those persons, right, Doc?
Kaylin,
And Kaylin is also asking
Kaylin
about
after.
foods.
So, Kaylin, I'll get to you just now. James, um, the patient with medical paranoia and what I call Googleitis, where Google is their doctor, no names are being called here. Um, I personally, I try to bring them down a notch, and it's constant reinforcement that you're okay, and really explaining what is normal and what isn't. But at the same time, if they have medical paranoia, if that's the word we're using tonight, um, as their personally as a physician, I tell them they can come, because it makes them feel more at ease. You understand? And eventually they'll get over that fear and paranoia of dying and imminent death and all the bad diseases. But it's all about education and positive reinforcement. Because if you just shut them down all the time, you may actually miss something. So, I mean, a full checkup has to be done. We do bloods once a year on healthy people. Um, and the bloods will include your kidney function, your liver function, your blood count, your cholesterol levels, and I mean, anything else that we may see as your physician that we need to touch on, be it your thyroid hormone, be it um, inflammatory markers, different things. So I really, it's about really speaking to the patients and letting them understand where they're at and what they really need to do. Because Googleitis actually came out from physicians thinking they were gods and just dictating, I think. And now we just have to combat it by being open to patients.
Yeah, because we have the information there. Well, we have the internet there, and the first thing we do is jump on and Google. And I know, I'd admit, James, I am one of those persons you're speaking about with the Googleitis. Yeah, so I've stopped. I think I've been good, Dr. LeBlanc. I've been good of recent, right?
But it's not bad because it just makes us physicians work harder to y'all just make us, I guess that's our continuing education. It makes us have to really be prepared for you. So maybe so it's I sometimes it really, you go, oh my word. But then
Yeah.
some days you just say it's okay.
Asante,
It's all right.
you said that, oh my word, on the other side of the table when I sat there. So I now know that, oh my word, what it meant. Thank you. So if you're just jumping on, this is the live check-in. This is the first one. So we've had the moving camera on my end because I've still got things to work out, but I am talking to Dr. Asante Le Blanc. She is located at her clinic, Victoria Clinic on Gallus Street in Woodbrook. I encourage you to check her out. That's my GP, and I'm willing to share her with you. So go check her out. You will get all the info you need. And I know we have some more questions before we get ready to wrap this up in just a bit. So you touched on the monitor a few minutes ago. So would you advise persons to get a monitor? Because I just recently bought one. And how should I use this? I know you said, for instance, when you mentioned relaxing for 5 minutes or sitting for 5 minutes, I didn't do that on my first test most recently. So can you guide us on that again? The proper way to use the home monitor, blood
So
pressure monitor, I should
it's
say.
usually that it's either that you wake up and you rest for 5 minutes, or if you're going to take your pressure and you're awake, sit down for 5 minutes, rest a little bit before you put that cuff on and before you take your pressure. It's important to note that if you have a wrist monitor, that you do have to keep your hand as steady as possible close to your heart, because
Right.
those are very sensitive. Yeah. I Kaylin, we haven't forgotten you. We do have to touch on
Go ahead.
Kaylin's
Go ahead. Go ahead.
question.
Oh, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Um,
He was
Sorry
talking
about
about
that.
food.
In terms of food, yes. That goes, and we will touch. I think we're going to do a segment on that, on healthy
Yes.
eating. But basically, foods that help you with pressure. You don't have to eat cardboard. You know, you can eat normally, but we say low salt. And it's not hard to imagine low salt until you try to see how much you really need per day. So the ideal thing to look at is if you have a family of six, let's say, then the
Right.
daily amount of salt that you should use in every single for the whole for everything that day is 6 teaspoons of salt. That's the maximum. So if you took 6 teaspoons of salt and you put it in a container and you start to cook for the family of six for that day, you can recognize that you will not use all that salt.
Right.
You
Right.
understand? So, and then, other foods, cucumbers. Everybody knows about cucumbers. Garlic. Everybody makes garlic tea or eat some garlic. Y'all call it
Chris.
karaili.
Yeah.
We call it karaila in
Yes.
Guyana. Um, using parsley tea. Eating wholesome foods, eating foods that are fresh, natural
Right.
foods. That is the key, really and truly, Kaylin. Um, Lime and lemon to keep your salt intake low. That's interesting. Yes, and pepper as well could help. A little touch of cayenne. So it's really about eating as natural and wholesome as possible, is what I would
Which you're doing.
recommend.
Yes. You just mentioned karaili. I know I shock so many people because I eat karaili like slicing cucumbers. I slice the karaili and eat it raw like that. So and you do acquire the taste for it. At first I was like, oh my God, this is bad, but you do acquire the taste. The bitterness is not as strong as it was before. And I do chew that garlic. Am I doing that right by chewing that garlic as well or making that garlic tea? Because,
That's
go ahead.
absolutely fine. But if your pressure is not high, it's not like it's going to drop it to the bottom. So it's fine, you know. So that's absolutely fine. James, I think you asked a question about how do we convince men to go to the doctors. I think it's through their wives and women and
Yeah.
partners on the whole.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
and constant education, constant education. Herman, you're great, but you see that's why I said that it's syndrome X, which is obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and cholesterol. So Herman says his pressure was controlled when he lost weight, and that is a big thing as well. We see people not needing their medication anymore once they've gotten a healthy weight.
Now, I don't mind sharing my info a little bit here, Santi, because sometimes in the past I would have thought that my pressure was very high. I can't remember the figures I told you this week, but one of the things I remember you always saying to me, even before I started thinking about hypertension, was the fact that I needed to lose weight. So Herman saying that there is just another reinforcement that shedding this weight will help a vast amount in terms of maintaining that blood pressure and even the other cousins, if I can call them, in terms of cholesterol and diabetes and all that. So we got plenty of work to do in terms of ourselves.
Mandy,
Yes?
Mandy has a question, and Mandy, I think what I should tell you is hypertension is called primary and secondary hypertension. 95% of hypertensive patients are primary or benign essential hypertensives, meaning we don't know what's causing their hypertension.
Right.
5% we know what the cause is. In Mandy's case, your kidneys, if they're damaged, they will cause an increase in high blood pressure. And that's because of a mechanism from the where an enzyme from the kidney is what influences the balance of the sodium and the water in the body. And I'm breaking it down for you as simple as possible, but that is why we get hypertension. It's raining a lot here in case you hear anything. So
Oh, we don't
Mandy,
have,
your case, it will be difficult to keep your pressure normal, but you're in a catch-22 position because we have to give you medication to lower your pressure and protect your kidneys at the same so as to regulate your blood pressure and prevent further
wow.
damage. But don't give up. You still have to eat right and everything else, but you do need to use some medication to help protect the kidneys. Um, I won't go into what damage your kidneys have and why they're damaged, but that's a very great point, Mandy. And what doctors do is if we see your blood pressure not responding to medication or giving us real trouble, or if you're very young, then we do have to do a workup to ensure that it's not a cause that we can actually treat versus benign essential hypertension.
So can you just touch on, thank you so much, Mandy, for the question. Can you touch on,
But
you just
Mandy,
said
don't
something
give
about
up.
medication. She says it's acute damage due to surgery.
Right. So don't give up, because if it's acute damage, then most likely that damage can be reversed. And it also depends on how high your pressure is. So the doctor should be working with you to help reverse the acute damage. And weight loss will help you along with the medication. So don't give up.
And Mandy, you can call me or you can call Dr. LeBlanc, but if you call me, I can send you straight there. She's really good. You know, we're good like that, Mandy. Medication. You said something about medication because some persons are on meds. I've got a very dear friend, won't call her name. She's my age, so I'm 41. If some people didn't know that, I'm 41. And she is currently on meds at our age, right? I don't want to say normal, but what can you touch on in terms of medication for persons with hypertension, even at that age, as well as my grandmother who is thriving, well, has to live basically on her medication, her hypertension meds?
You know, so people think because I'm a herbalist, I don't do meds, but I do medication. And to me, there's a place for both the meds and the herbs. Um,
Right.
Medication is sometimes needed. And you know, right now in today's world, hypertension does not know your age. If you're living hard and fast and you're not taking care of yourself and your lifestyle is poor, then it doesn't matter what age you are, and we may have to put the meds on earlier. So,
Yes.
it doesn't matter your age. So what we have to look at also is your family history. Your history. How do you live? What's your life like? What are your stress coping mechanisms? Like today I had road rage and my kids were like, "Mommy, oh my God, you have road rage." And I was like, "Yeah, I might pop a vessel." And but if you have sustained stress, then there's going to be a repercussion on the body. So there are many factors involved, and that's where the word holistic comes in, because woman, I'm 37. Mandy,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yes. Um oh,
and
you're
she
talking about
says,
Mandy.
I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She's literally singing.
Y-
I'm
um
seeing her singing.
JD has road rage. Yes, Mandy. Yes. But Mandy, you might want to speak to your physicians and ask them if that is the best medication for you, or if there's something else. You can just throw it out there to them.
Right. And um, you said something
Because
about alcohol, which
Mandy may not
go
be
ahead. You go
responding
ahead.
to one type of medication. Mandy may not be responding to one type of medication, but she may respond to another family. Because there are many
Right.
families out there now. They're combination pills. So, Mandy, you should have a very frank discussion, dare I say, with your physician, um, about the frustration of not having controlled pressures.
Can I touch on something pertaining to the medication side effects? Because again, I know of someone who says, I stopped taking my meds because the side effects are ridiculous. So she has to do just like what maybe you're suggesting to Mandy. But speak to your physician and find out what else you can take.
Yes, because the meds do have side effects, some of them, and it's an individual response as well. So it again, we have to find the best fit for you.
Right. All right. So Trini, what we do, well, most persons looking at here in Trinidad and Tobago, and what we do is we lime. We're known to party, and in parties, most of persons outside will tend to consume the little alcohol as well. So that is another one of the things that I think you touched on early in the discussion about trying to curb that. Please, those listening, you need to curb
Yes,
the alcohol.
excessive,
Yes.
excessive alcohol.
Yeah, I'm talking to some
Excessive
people, you know, Doctor.
alcohol. I mean, and don't mix that Red Bull as a chaser. You know, um,
Ooh,
those energy drinks as chasers. Red wine is good for you, ladies. So red wine is very good to have 3 times a week. That doesn't mean you're gonna drink a bottle every time you drink it. It's one glass. So, it's about balance. Carnival comes along, you don't have to get drunk out of your mind and try and drink the entire all-inclusive ticket, you know. It'll never be possible. So,
you need to, because the cost of that ticket, we gotta finish it up. Yes, but I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
you know,
Before we wrap it up,
it's all
can you tell us your final notes on hypertension, and then I want you to encourage folks to tell us, in terms of I know you're one of those that you said, in terms of garlic and all these other things that we can incorporate, again, reinforcing that point, and tell us about Victoria, where we can certainly come and see you.
again, hypertension is right now we look at your blood pressure, and the new definition is a blood pressure over 130/90 mm mercury. Um, do not be alarmed by one reading. Take your reading, be conscious about it, relax for 5 minutes, take that reading. A blood pressure diary, know what your normal pressure is. For example, my
Right,
normal blood pressure is 90 over 60 and 50. And that is not low because I have no symptoms. But that's because I exercise, I eat as best
yeah,
as I can, even though I'm still selectively plump. Um, but the so what happens is if I get, let's say I go into a hospital and they get my
right,
blood pressure at 140, 90, that may be hypertension for me. So I know what my baseline pressure is. So if your systolic goes above 40 points and your diastolic above 30 points, then that is going to the zone of hypertension. So that's important to
right,
note, ladies who have what they call low blood pressure, so that when you go into a hospital and they say that's normal, you say, no, my norm is X. So therefore, can you please check properly because this is not my normal pressure. You know,
right.
we're going to touch on the rest of the lifestyle diseases, and we're going to
Yes,
consistently let you know how to achieve that healthier lifestyle. And we all know it's not easy. We all know that life is stressful, and it's not about being completely zen and clean and yada yada. It's about being balanced. I still
yeah,
eat cheesecake. I still love chocolate cake. I still eat a doubles once a month. I may choose to have a sahina. I may choose to have a baigan. I like food, as you can hear. So the thing is that let's see how we eat it. Let's see how we do it. You feel for fries, fry it in your house in your oil that you did not reuse. You
right.
understand? You feel for fried
Yes,
chicken, do it in your house. It's a once in a lifetime treat. You understand? But eat it. You want ice cream? Eat it. Do not deprive yourself, but don't eat a whole tub of ice cream. Don't eat a whole bucket of fries and a whole bucket of chicken every day of your life. That is going to be a problem. You understand? When it comes to
mhm,
natural things that you can eat, it's cucumbers, it's walnuts,
yes,
it's watermelon, it's parsley, curry, garlic. It's almost everything that we eat, and try to eat it as naturally as possible. Do you need to juice every day? No, you do not.
okay,
If you want to have dal and rice for breakfast, absolutely fine and perfect. Don't do it every day, but it's normal and it's healthy. You don't have to have a juice for breakfast. You can eat. You can have an egg. You can have a slice of whole wheat toast. Have real butter. Don't have, I can't believe it's not butter. There's a reason you can't believe it's not butter. It's not. You understand? So make wise decisions. Um, and listen to your body, because a lot of the food has changed and a lot of the food has been modified.
Yeah.
So now my rant is, see how natural you can get with your food. And when you see how your body feels on it, that's what's right for you. You understand? Um, and eating healthy doesn't mean always mean expensive. Go to your markets, speak to your vendors, understand what they're selling, understand who is farming, listen out for the pesticide use. You know, these are little tips and little things you can do. And but don't obsess over it, because as I think is, I can't remember what his name is, Saunders, that's all I
James.
remember, I'm so sorry. um yes. um you know, don't go overboard, don't obsess about it. You know what I mean? Exercise, that doesn't mean all of us are going to be doing Ironman, you know, but exercise what you like, don't make it a chore, you know. um Different things, look for different things, get a partner to exercise with, one who doesn't wake up every morning and say they're tired, you know. So they're little things, and ladies, we know what to do, and we can encourage our gentlemen to do it. You know, men, don't take all these so-called enhancers for muscles, you
Yes.
know. Build them build them naturally, you know. Be very cautious with what you put into your body. And
Gosh,
I
she's
think I
just
think
packed.
I could go on and on, but
I know, and I
I
love
just, you know,
that.
I
So you know what? They'll surely come back next Wednesday for more info, because I'm telling you, Dr. Asante Le Blanc is just jammed with so much info, medical information there, and you make it so relatable and so easy to do. Simply incorporating the greens, the karali, the cucumbers, do simple things, and it's not maths, it's not ad maths, it's just simply personal responsibility. Yeah, and I'm not talking like I do.
remember where we came from. No, remember where we came from. Remember what we ate when we were young. Um, Remember, let's go back to basics, basically. You know what I mean? Um, get the flour that is not bleached and genetically modified, you know, mix it with the brown flour, mix it with the so-called non-traditional flours, the rice flour, the coconut flour. You know, just let your body tell you what Marissa, bring that red wine. Let your body tell you how it's feeling, and listen to your body. You know,
Yeah,
and we hear this all the time, and I will consistently say it to all my patients, as you know, that, you know, get sleep. Simple things as getting sleep. You know what I mean? Um, Very important. And so we need to just take a step back and analyze, because more and more young people are having these lifestyle diseases and dying. So they're not just having these diseases, they're dying. And that is the problem. So your grandmother, for example, her blood pressure, we don't want it where we want ours, because as you get older, you
right.
need a slightly higher pressure. But, you know, why can't we exercise? You know, we have to actually make our own destiny and make our own lives. So if we have a job and we have to get on the road at 5 o'clock in the morning, we have to figure out, well, what time are we leaving work? Because we have to exercise and we have to take care of ourselves. You know, if you have kids like me and you're busy and you're married and you have a job and you do voluntary work and whatever else, then cook on the weekend, you know,
Right. Yeah.
you have to eat
And prep.
leftovers. You know what I mean? So
Leftovers
meal
taste
prep,
better.
you hear that word all the time. Well, most of them, yeah. Curry tastes real good the day after. You see, again with food, but so, you know, these are things. And remember what you used to eat as a kid, and the healthy stuff, and really and truly, sometimes I involve my children in the kitchen, so it's not as though they don't, because we need to teach our children healthy lifestyles from now as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And
but
one of the things that I
hypertension
had before,
is rough.
say it again, sorry, because there's a
No,
delay.
no, go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, just one of the things I
No, go
look
ahead.
at with my grandmother, because I can only speak of who I know. Granny's 85. And yes, most recently she got a minor stroke, but other than that, Granny is always eating edibles, and she's very much into the greens. My mother can be walking in the yard and see celery, and she'll pick some and eat that with her food. My mother eats karate like just like a carrot. She'll take the seeds out, of course, but so these are the practices that those before us have certainly practiced and doing some great numbers right now. So we have to say thanks to them for that, for the lesson, and take pattern from them, especially. Asante, I
And
don't want.
Mandy, you know,
Go ahead.
Mandy brought up a good point. Mandy, maybe you can try something like yoga or qigong or tai chi, and that will help your kidney energy in Chinese medicine and probably give you a little more energy to allow you to do a little more exercise.
I'm loving the connection here happening with Dr. Asante Le Blanc. I'm telling you, when you guys go there, you're going to say, gee, the woman is amazing. I'm not lying. And then you'll hear the laugh that I told you about. This is the live check-in. We're getting ready to wrap it up because Dr. Asante has got to go rest to do her thing tomorrow at her location, Victoria Clinic. Please tell us some more about that. How can we get in contact with you? And we'll certainly tell them we'll reconnect next Wednesday for sure.
Okay, yes. Victoria Clinic, 54 Gallus Street, Woodbrook, 622-2221, 622-0683. Check us out on Facebook as well. I have an Instagram page. It's going to be improving slowly. But yes, trying to be a hip doctor. It's not working all the time. But yes, we're there, and yeah, we work on appointments. And I really do try to make it an enjoyable experience. Um, so just come on in if you need to. If not, discuss what we discuss with your doctor. So that's what this is about as well,
Yeah.
just simple education. And it's really been a pleasure. I mean, despite the technical difficulties. And Mandy, try the Tai Chi or Qigong if you can't do the yoga. And try just swimming, just gentle walking in the pool. Just poke a poke, no beef. Is that what Trini say?
Yeah.
Um, and but poke a poke, one day at a time, and you will see improvements, Mandy.
Right. So thank you so much, Dr. Asante Le Blanc. We are going to, if you ever see us guys just popping out in between the next Wednesday, do know we're doing a test because I shall not have this happen to us again next week, Wednesday. Yeah? And
Are
I'll
we
get my
on next
tripod and
week or the week after?
what is happening next week? Do you tell me? I was thinking next Wednesday. But I know you're a very busy woman.
We'll discuss it. I think I have a meeting, but we'll discuss it.
We'll discuss that and we will put that at the bottom. What date Asante will meet us again inside of the live check-in. Thank you for this idea, bringing it to me, Asante. I love it. And it's just informing me
No,
as well
thank
as
you.
sharing the. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So check Dr. Asante out. Today we spoke about hypertension. My hand is killing me. I think I worked out tonight or something. I worked out.
One side of your body.
Watch me. Woo! This whole thing, I feel like if I'm lifting muscles. So I got muscles here already. Don't worry about that.
Don't come to me and tell me you have pain.
I'll be calling you. Asante, something's up. So.
Sop, and it's your left hand too. Sop that with some ginger tonight.
Say it again. What did you say?
I'll tell you off air. Sop it with some
God.
ginger.
You see how amazing she is? Sop it with some ginger. And I should make some ginger tea tonight. I love that. And mint tea, I'm in love with that. But thank you, Asante. Mwah. And thank you to all persons jumping on. I know they're going to jump onto your page and place more questions for you there. And you can direct them as well to the clinic. Or as you said, go speak to your doctor.
I won't. And on my Facebook page, I don't answer medical questions, So I'll probably tell you come in because I don't know the person, and so I need to do some questions. So don't, yeah. And not to mention, I sometimes don't see Facebook messages on time. Grab a pile of books.
We'll find
Marissa,
out.
She should have took the book, but she didn't.
What is that? I was trying to tell you, grab a pile of books. Yeah. Next time, girl, in the back, tons of them there. Thank you, Asante. Have yourself a good night. Thank you guys for locking on. This is the first
You
episode
too.
of the check-in. Bye.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you. Night.